So, I just finished The Boys Season 1. Stoked for Season 2. So what did I think of The Boys Season 1? Oh, what didn't I think for The Boys Season 1? It was bonkers great. Bonkers crazy. Bonkers. Like it takes, superheroes, but, truly what superheroes would truly be like in the real world, because how they abuse their powers, how they're just used for marketing, how they're just used for publicity, how they're different in real life than they are in person, and or different in real life as they are in on screen and in battle. And there was just some great scenes, so super hilarious, but yet balances these characters in deep psychological questions and these, because there's like the long list of characters that you get to know. You know what I mean? You get to know Starlight. Yeah, you get to know Huey and Billy the Butcher. I'm just gonna call him Butcher. Butcher and Huey and Starlight and Homelander and Queen Maeve and the Deep and Frenchie and the Female and Mother's Milk and A Train and they all have a connection to the story. It's not like they're just thrown in there to get thrown in there. They all have a collective meaning, except for probably the Deep. But yet, because I'm like, they constantly cut to Deep, and I'm like, what? Like, especially after he leaves the Seven, I'm like, why are you cutting into the Deep? He doesn't seem to have any story, but maybe they'll build up to that in season 2. But I mean, he did have parts in the beginning, but and Black Noir was kind of cool with this kind of mystery element to him, and the and all the characters, and even the head of Vought, was kind of cool. Kind of seeing her thought process and her relationship to Homelander, and all the mystery element of like supers and how are they created, and Becca Butcher, and what does Homelander want, and what does Huey want, and what does Starlight want, and diving into the characters as well as the overall narrative. The boys cast. Well, I forgot what the character was named called. Was called Madeline Stillwell. Yeah, Madeline was very interesting, kind of seeing her thought process running a company. So you have that kind of business aspect. Wow, you still have that great superhero sequences, but kind of it very much flips it on its head. Where it's like, hey, this is a show with superheroes, but the superheroes are the villain, and Compound V and all this stuff was just so crazy. And the synopsis on its own seems very interesting, but when you dive into it, you're like, holy hell, this show is bonkers. Holy hell, the show goes to crazy places. Like, this has no limits to what it can be and cannot do, and it just also feels so cinematic too. I think I still contend Daredevil is probably the most cinematic show I've probably seen, but I feel like this is up there when you just look at some of the scope of the show. And I just really love it, and there's so many different moving pieces, and the cliffhanger with Becca and the ending was great. And by the way, I have seen the first episode of season 2. Tonight I'll probably watch the second episode, and I'm not gonna tell what I think about the first episode, but it's not as good as the season 1. But like, if I were to say my favorite episode, I wouldn't be able to really say it my favorite episode, because I think the problem is like, I binge the show, and they kind of feel like one big story. You know what I mean? Where it's like I have favorite scenes, like that airplane scene. Oh my god, so sad, but yet so realistic to what Homelander is, and they're so consistent with the characters. And and Queen Maeve trying to help them, and that scene was great. Just this interactions between Starlight and Huey are great, and their evolving relationship, but also the stuff with A Train. I think some of the scenes where it's like A Train versus Starlight was great, and everything with Homelander is gold. Whether it's creepy or weird or whatever, it's gold. Homelander's my favorite character in the show. Because he is so complex of a character. And I just think the biggest feat this show does is accomplishes to have so many characters, so many moving pieces narrative wise, but yet handle it so cohesively. And that continues to amaze me. The way they're able to have stuff about A-Train and Huey and Butcher and Homelander and Starlight and the Deep and Mother's Milk and Frenchie with the female Kamiko and Compound V and all this moving pieces. Just to me, works. It just works so well and fits so well because they devote 8 episodes of gold, 8 episodes with no fluff. But the one thing I will say is that I never got the Robin and Huey relationship. Because everything was implied, but they never really showed anything. Because yes, they had the opening scene with Huey and Robin, but you never fully got their love. Because you had one kind of cute little scene with them together, but yet she dies immediately. So we can understand that clearly Huey loves her. Clearly Huey cares about Robin. But as an audience member, do we care about Robin? When we saw Robin die, we were shocked not because we cared about Robin. We were shocked because they just killed her off. Oh my God! Because the first episode set that extreme tone. So that was like the one thing. That's why I was always like pushing for Starlight and Huey, because you never cared about Robin. Like yes, Huey had those visions of Robin whenever he got close with Starlight. But we never cared as an audience member. We couldn't understand what it meant for Huey. But we never had that personal connection because we never really got time with Robin. But other than that, this show was gold. Stay tuned for more videos coming at you.